What exactly can the federal government do to restore family values to ensure the success of the next generation? It's a loaded question, as I mentioned. Who better to answer than Adrienne Schweer, mom of 5 and fellow at the Bipartisan Policy Center, and she is with us now. Adrienne, you know, I listened to some of his solutions, and they sounded wonderful. Are we getting to the root of the problem here?
I don't know how we get to the root of the problem with a single solution. I appreciate that he's bringing forward multiple solutions. I think it takes federal policy, state policy. It takes communities and strong families. And but I appreciate that both vice presidential candidates, both presidential candidates, our now Surgeon General are talking about the fact that parents are really struggling in today's economy to balance both work and their families, and we need to intervene and we need to support them better.
So as a mother of 5, you know, what would you suggest if you had either of the candidates, even just for 10 minutes? What would you suggest to them? I love the tax credit. I think it's so helpful. But there needs to be more, right? There needs to be more family structure or support for families. And how can the candidates do that?
I mean, the child tax credit is a really good start. I'm a mother of 5. Most people look at me like I have 5 eyeballs. I'm not saying that's what every woman should want, but the average woman wants 2.3 children and she's having 1.5, which sounds obnoxious. But the core element there is that she's not having the family she wants to have. So that is left out of the Surgeon General's report, and a really important element to one of the driving forces underneath how parents are dealing with life today. You know, fertility issues, not being able to have the family they want is a whole separate bucket that isn't put on the table with some of the news over the last couple of days, but has certainly been a high priority topic on the campaign trail. What excites me, and a tiny bit of fun history, I mean, the child tax credit is a fascinating and important federal policy that brings the support of families into our core tax code. It used to be only $1,000 a year, and it was still a meaningful thing. I remember my parents really valuing it every year when they were filing their taxes. President Trump, when he passed the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, he doubled the child tax credit to $2,000. Making it really, really meaningful for a lot of families. And then President Biden took it even further during one of the COVID relief plans that Democrats passed using reconciliation, and he brought it up to $3,600. And we have, you know, J.D. Vance talking about making it $5,000, and we have Vice President Harris now talking about making it $6,000 for new parents. These are really, really big doubles down on a core policy that has a lot of proof underneath it about supporting families financially, giving them the freedom to choose what to do with those resources. Part of that policy is often tied to work, and you know, it's more refundable. It brings more financial dollars to you if you have a taxable income. It's a really interesting policy to see both sides of the aisle campaigning on with a really substantive change. And I don't think it's a standalone solution. You know, I love paid family leave. It's what I study every day. I think the child tax credit is incredible. I think we need to double down on it and give families that freedom, but it's not a panacea to the solution. We need really strong bipartisan policies around paid family leave, particularly for new parents who are really struggling. We did some research last year on people post-pandemic that had left work and weren't looking for work. 1/3 of them are caring for children or caring for loved ones. And we found a huge percentage would go back to work or wouldn't have left work if they had paid parental leave. Again, it's this policy that would help people stay connected to their job and balance their family, which is what they want.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.